and it's caused a lot of social problems. So how do you think these economic sectors can try to like manage these shocks and try to manage like housing prices?
Well, in terms of affordability, I wrote a book that nobody read with a good friend named Ed Glacier, who's a professor at Harvard in the economics department, and we've thought a lot about this in terms of affordability in the U.S., where our coastal markets, New York, San Francisco, and the like, aren't as expensive as yours, but they're very expensive by U.S. standards, and middle-class households can't afford to live there. And my view is the answer is a lot more building. The reason prices are so high in these markets is there's not enough supply. You have very strong, robust demand. My personal belief is the Bay Area, Silicon Valley and San Francisco, is probably the most productive metropolitan area on the planet. It's the center of a booming tech world. It's the global capital of tech. And they allow about, in terms of housing permits per year in the Bay Area, it's about 1/3 of 1% of the existing stock. It's almost nothing. High demand in the face of almost no net new supply is a recipe for massively high prices. So I don't think the right thing is to target a price. The right thing is to allow building. And that will bid down prices. You get more supply, people won't have to pay as much. That would be my recommendation almost everywhere, where you see prices. For poor people, which is a different thing, I think the right strategy is not to intervene in the property markets. The right strategy is to transfer income to those people. In other words, if you're so poor that you can't afford the price of a house in Philadelphia, where the price is pure construction costs, 10% land value, and a 17% gross margin on home building. That's what home builders get in the US on average, and it's a highly competitive industry. If you can't afford to buy that, I don't think the government should try to make it less expensive and subsidize it. They should just give you more income. So I think almost always the right strategy on affordability is on the supply side, not the demand side. And for poverty, I think the right answer is income. It's not to distort the housing market. It's transfer enough income so that they can live in a decent place, or whatever your society considers a decent standard of housing.
Over the last 2 hours, we've heard a wide range on the topic of US and Chinese markets, and what's very clear is that we have still got a lot to learn about these markets, but I'm glad to say that, and I believe that Joe has done a good job of giving us a very good insight into these markets. So it now leaves me to ask you to join me in thanking Joe for a very insightful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you once again to Professor Joko as well as Dr. Sekira for sharing your insights and experiences with us. We would now like to invite Mr. Koo Tin Chai, Executive Director of CLC, and Professor Teng Yong Heng, Provost Chair Professor and Director of IRES, to join us on stage to take a photo with our distinguished guests.